Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. We have been providing you with updates regarding a lawsuit that was filed in Latah County. The original plaintiff in this action was Karen Laramie, who is the mother of Madison Mogan, one of the 4 students that were lost at 1122 King Road on November 13th, 2022. We had reported to you the filing of a complaint, a motion for a temporary ex parte restraining order, meaning the other side was not heard. It was issued based on papers that Ms. Laramie filed seeking an injunction to prevent harm from continuing. That temporary restraining order was issued. If you have not yet had an opportunity to review our prior content on the complaint, on the temporary restraining order, please do so. It will provide you with details regarding this matter. At this time, I wanted to call your attention to the fact that according to the filings, 3 more plaintiffs have been added to the case. It is now not just Karen Laramie versus City of Moscow. It is Karen Laramie, Stacy Chapin, James Chapin, and Maisie Chapin as the plaintiffs versus City of Moscow. The declaration of Maisie Chapin in support of motion for temporary restraining order and injunction reads as follows. I, Maisie Chapin, declare as follows. Paragraph 1. I am over the age of 18 and competent to testify to the matters set forth herein. My testimony is based on my personal knowledge. Paragraph 2. I am the biological triplet sibling of Ethan Chapin. Ethan, Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana were unalived by Brian Kohberger on November 13th, 2022, in the house where Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana resided and Ethan was visiting, 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Paragraph 3. Kohberger has admitted to unaliving the 4 victims. 4. Upon information and belief, the defendant, the City of Moscow, has released and is in process of releasing still images and body camera footage, in parentheses, video media, related to the police investigation of the unalivings of the victims to third parties in response to requests for examination of public records under Idaho's Freedom Information Act law. Paragraph 5. Upon information and belief, the images being released include but are not limited to 1. Images of the interior of the private room where Ethan was unalived, and 2. Images of the scenes of the unalivings, the victims, evidence of what happened, ladies and gentlemen, and property of Ethan and the other victims. Next paragraph. Images of the witnesses and video media containing sounds of the witnesses, including sobbing and their statement to law enforcement officials. Paragraph 6. The release of the unaliving scene images is horrific, made worse by the fact that on August 17th, 2025, I inadvertently came across an investigation photo on the internet, in parentheses, from an unknown source, and to parentheses, and recognized the feet of my brother Ethan. 7. I am personally haunted by the photos and lose sleep nightly, wondering what will show up on my computer and iPhone. A redacted photo is just as traumatizing. Because my brother is still in the picture, clear or not, It is devastating to me and continues to reopen a wound that has yet to heal. Once these images, including images of the bedrooms, are released to the public, they are published, republished, and circulated on the internet, causing me actual, threatened, and ongoing irreparable harm in the form of extreme emotional distress with physical manifestation, including shaking, sobbing, and sleeplessness. When I inadvertently ran across the seen image of Ethan, it shattered my world and caused me emotional damage to the point I could not function. I see and re-see that released image over and over in my mind, which causes me continuing profound emotional injury. I will never be able to get that image out of my mind. I now live in constant fear that I will inadvertently encounter more of these images and have them forever imprinted in my mind. Paragraph 9. Ethan and I were supposed to graduate together. Now, instead of graduation photos, I see photos of his unaliving scene. The fact that some of these photos have been released and more may be released is devastating to me and causes me ongoing harm. The idea that the city of Moscow may release more of the unaliving scene photos of the victims is extremely traumatizing to me. I now live in fear that these will be released to the world for everyone to see. Some of the media, bloggers, and others in this case have shown that they will use images like unaliving scene for their own financial gain with no regard to the damage it does to me and my family members. Paragraph 11. In addition to those who will misuse these images, I think about Mr. Kohberger seeing these images online. The prospect that these images may be seen by my brother's unaliver and perhaps enjoyed by him causes me irreparable and great injury in the most profound kind. The images are not just photographs and body camera footage. They are painful reminders of a profound loss and final moments which I have tried not to think about. Releasing more of these images of the victims will increase my pain and loss. Even the thought of releasing more of these images is greatly damaging and injurious to me. Paragraph 13. I struggle to deal with the loss of my triplet brother. There were always 3 of us. Now there are only 2. That reality has caused me a deep emotional wound. The city's release of these images of the scene greatly opened that wound further. Continued release of those images will open the wound yet further, irreparably injuring me. Paragraph 14. Every single time anything is released regarding this case, the uptick in news articles, media reports, and comments that keep this case top of the news is unbearable. I can no longer sleep. I'll leave you to review the rest of this document for yourself, but where it concludes here is that Maisie Chapin is hereby certifying and declaring under penalty of perjury pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct. Dated the 22nd day of August, 2025. If you have any thoughts, any comments, any opinions, please leave them here. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.